Unit 3, Lesson 1 test. Number 1, email address. Number 2, which statement correctly tells why the cells of unicellular and multicellular organisms divide? The cells of unicellular organisms divide to reproduce. Those of multicellular organism cells divide to replace cells and to grow. The cells of unicellular organisms divide to replace cells and to grow. Those of multicellular organisms divide only to reproduce. The cells of both kinds of organisms divide only to reproduce. Number 3. What are single-celled organisms that do not have a nucleus or membrane-bound organelles called? Prokaryote, eukaryote, human beings. Number 4. All living things are made of one or more cells. What is true of all cells? They have cytoplasm. They all have DNA in their nucleus. They all have membrane-bound organelles. Number 5. Eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells have some parts in common. Which of the following pairs of parts would you find in both types of cells? Cytoplasm and nucleus, cell membrane and cytoplasm, DNA and membrane-bound organelles. Number 6. What term describes the smallest unit that can perform all of the functions necessary for life? A cell, a nucleus, a membrane. Jaden knows that multicellular organisms are more complex than unicellular organisms. Which of the following is a characteristic unique to multicellular organisms? Obtaining food, being able to move. They often have specialized cells. Number 8. The following picture shows a prokaryotic organism. What part of the organism is labeled A? DNA, nucleus, cell membrane. Number 9. Eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells have some parts that are different. Which of the following would you find only in a eukaryotic cell? Membrane-bound organelles and a nucleus. Organelles without membranes. A cell membrane and organelles without membranes. Number 10. Some organisms consist of one cell. Other organisms consist of multiple cells. Which of the following is true of cells in a multicellular organism? All the cells will have the same function. Every single cell has a different function. Different types of cells have different functions. Number 11. Alice is studying prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. How does the part of the cell labeled A help Alice know what she's looking at? Know that she is looking at a prokaryotic cell? A is the cytoplasm, which is found only in prokaryotic cells. A is the cell membrane, which is found only in prokaryotic cells. A is DNA, which is not enclosed in a nucleus like in eukaryotic cells, which have their DNA in the nucleus. Number 12. Eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells have some parts that are different. Which of the following would you find only in a eukaryotic cell? A nucleus, a cell membrane, DNA in the cytoplasm. Number 13. What is the main difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells? Prokaryotic cells have cell membrane, but eukaryotic cells do not. Eukaryotic cells contain DNA in a nucleus, while prokaryotic cells do not have a nucleus. Eukaryotic cells have flagella, but prokaryotic cells do not. Number 14. What are the organisms made up of cells that contain DNA in a nucleus, membrane-bound organelles, and ribosomes called? Prokaryotes, eukaryotes, bacteria. Number 15. What is any living thing that carries out its own life processes called? Cell, organism, human. 16. What is the role of DNA in a cell? Provides the instructions for all cell processes for unicellular and multicellular organisms. Provides a covering on the organelles of all cells in order to assist with specialized functions. Improves the ability of one-celled organisms to become multicellular organisms.